All right, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are joining us from, wherever you are in the world. I want to welcome you. My name's Jon Kovach Jr. I'm the founder and chairman of Champion Circle Networking Association, and I am excited. This is a great opportunity for all of us to dive in deep into one of my favorite books of all time, to one of the best resources for success, and also to help you get set and ready to take massive accelerated action in your life. I am here to give you a desire and goal setting training for I'm going to help you get crystal clear on your desires so that you can achieve that which you want. Now, as many of you are joining us at the beginning of the year, you've probably already set goals, aspirations, ideas, intentions, or maybe even the dreadful, the never achievable, and the unspoken New Year's resolutions. Whatever it might be, you probably have seen somewhat of a deterioration or a decline of the achievement and the discipline in your goals. Tonight, I hope to help you overcome those challenges. And as a result of you learning so many things from this, I hope you have a few key takeaways. Number one is I hope you accelerate the results of your goals. I truly hope that we can find an accelerated pathway for you to overcome challenges, to get out of the ruts, to get unstuck, and to actually achieve that which you want to achieve. Now, I also want to achieve more than you have ever done before, meaning we don't just do things to achieve one goal. One goal is the stepping stone to the entire staircase to your success, and it is an uphill climb. I'll get into that later. The best personal development in the world is available here right now, and you too can learn to think and grow rich. Again, my name is Jon Kovach Jr. This is a Champion Circle training production. And let me begin by just answering the question through a creative video. What is Champion Circle? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, awesome. Well, let me just take 1 minute and I want to ask you guys a couple questions. Number one is tonight is actually up to you. Everything about to happen is up to you. Any of your questions, answers, the success, the feelings, it is what you put into this. And so if you promise, if you commit to achieving what it is that you came here to achieve or to overcome whatever it is you came to overcome, I will promote you to the panelist. Yes, you will be promoted to the panelist. And that means that you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to put in some effort. And so I want to be able to promote each of you to the panelist position. Now, that doesn't mean you have to come on camera. That doesn't mean you have to say anything. And it doesn't mean you have any role in this other than participation. And I hope that you'll put in what you hope to gain out. So with that being said, my encouragement is keep the chats flowing. Throw out as many emojis as you can throughout this presentation. I welcome it all. And any of it will allow us to have a great conversation and to help you each. Let me run through a few particular points of interest as I bring each of you to the panelist position. And all panelist means is it allows you to be on Zoom like normal, but not in the webinar format. Webinar keeps you in the audience, and so that I can give the presentation and then we can open it up later. But I want you to be able to participate that way. So as I allow you to come to the panelist position, keep your mics what we call closed, not hot, and allow yourself to sit back. And I invite you right now, if you haven't done so already, I want you to go and grab a notebook, a journal, a way to communicate from pen to paper, from brain to quill, however you plan to get whatever it is you learned from tonight on to something really, really important. And I also encourage you to have either loose leaf paper, scratch paper, or something that you can rip out of your journal, because this is going to go places. This is going to in so many ways. All right, give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to invite each of you to be on the panelist level. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate to see you all here. It's good to see a great crowd tonight. And again, my encouragement is that each of you will participate as best you can. If you'll take a look at the bar at the bottom, it means that you can have the ability to Q&A. You can ask me questions. I can answer those questions. Also, there should be reactions. Now, if you don't get any of that, just let me know. That means I probably have to promote you. If you don't have the reactions ability, I will definitely make you guys into amazing what do we call those guys? Panelists. There we go. I'm seeing the emojis fly now. Thank you, guys. So if you're wondering where those are, that's where it is. Now, I see Leanna's hand went up. Leanna, if you have a question, let me check the chat section just to make sure. Awesome. And Leanna, if you didn't mean to do that, no worries. I can always take it down. But if you do have a question, just throw it in the chat. Now, with that being said, if you're up to date and Zoom is, the most latest version, you can do stuff like this. You can hold your hand up and it should recognize. Let's see if it's going to do it for me. Okay, no more playing around, guys. It's not going to work. Okay, never mind. Scratch that from the record. Not happening. All right, just give me 2 seconds here and I'm going to make everybody. All right, I am going to allow people to talk if they want to, but right now, boom, boom, boom. All right, we're getting there. Now, you will all have the ability and power to do so. Perfect. Excellent.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? All right, guys, I'm going to get into this. Leanna, I just wanted to check. Are you, do you have a question? Your hand is up. Okay, great. I'm going to lower. Oh, there you go.
I'm good. No worries.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, guys, this is great. I'm going to put a gallery view, and then I am going to spotlight. Boom. Excellent. Okay, now I can see you everywhere. Let's get started. Desire. I have a small presentation followed by an opportunity for question and answer. Again, keep the chats flowing and also keep those emojis flying. If you forget that you're even on here, wake up, because we're excited to give you some of this great information. All right. First of all, let's talk about what is a desire. What is your burning desire? And again, this is all coming from one of the greatest books ever written. That is personal favorite, Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is written in 1937 by Napoleon Hill. And since then, there have been millions of copies sold. And of the millions of copies sold, no book has ever made more millionaires than Think and Grow Rich. Well, except for maybe the Bible, because, you know, it's the #1 grossing book in the entire world. But let's just put that aside for a minute. This is a tangible how-to dictionary, encyclopedia, and instruction manual to overcoming any challenge in your life into achieving the riches which you desire. I believe this, you guys. I don't just say this. I don't just preach it. I'm not just a Think and Grow Rich coach. Okay. I don't have any certification to make sure that you understand that this is just something that might work for you. Get it out of anyone's mind, because Think and Grow Rich does, can, and will help you achieve all of the goals you set and desire. I have watched this happen to my life over and over and over again, and I can give you plenty of examples tonight. But a burning desire is something that you cannot live without. You almost obsess over it. It's so important to you to achieve this that you cannot live without it. In fact, the mere idea that you not in possession of this desire is merely absurd, and you can't go on living. I think it's extremely valuable for each of you to understand the proper belief that goes behind the value of a burning desire. Checking the chat just to see everyone's good. Thank you very much for those suggestions. Awesome. Now, guys, we'll let everyone come on camera in a little bit. But what is a burning desire? It is that thing that you cannot live without. And in fact, when you don't live without this, meaning you set your life on a path to achieve that which you want so much, you will really, really start to see things change in your life. A great example of this: you are a mother and you are pushing a shopping cart at the grocery store, and you have a little toddler. Now, this is already a situation and a scenario for disaster, because we all know what babies do. They want to grab things. They want to touch things. They want to pull things into the cart with them, okay? And when they don't get what they want, what do? That's right. Wow! They go berserk. They are absolutely nuts, and sometimes inconsolable, meaning you cannot do anything to help that baby unless you get them what they want. And that is essentially what I'm asking all of us to be. Now, I'm not asking you to cry. I'm not asking you to be toddler-ish, but I am asking you to turn your childlike mind over the programmed adult mind that you've gained over the last few years. Because really, when you get what you want and you really want it, you too will be able to accelerate your results. All right. Are you truly, here's a few questions I want you to consider. You may write these down or screenshot or whatever the heck you want to do. Are you truly ready to receive what you desire? Meaning, is it something that you believe can be done? If you believe it, you can achieve it. Napoleon Hill. Another great question is, what is the difference between, there's a great typo there. What is the difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it? We'll get into that in just a minute. And then the last great question is, do your goals accurately reflect your burning desire? And I'll train you on that as well. Thank you for saying childlike, Lauren, in the chat. Boom, let's move on. Desire. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. Now, I want to teach you each one of these steps, each one of these qualities, and why that they are so important. And if you've read Think and Grow Rich, you might have missed some of these concepts. We'll fly through this and we'll give everyone an opportunity to discuss, ask questions, Q&A, and share what it is that they're working towards. And I highly recommend that as you are participating in this, that you write down questions that come to your mind or come to your heart. Because if you don't ask those, they might get buried, and you'll be down the path of your journey, and you'll be wondering what the answer was to a certain question or result that you seek. And you do not want that to be inaccessible without people in your vicinity or proximity. Okay. A couple qualities you're going to come away with throughout this process is that you'll develop the earnest exactness and definiteness. If you hear anyone in the public speaking realm use the word definiteness, okay, you know they're all about Think and Grow Rich. They're all about Napoleon Hill, because that's what we use. that word definiteness, a definiteness of purpose. Many of you guys have been to a mastermind, or you've been to something where you've had to have some sort of purpose or mission. Napoleon Hill describes that as a definiteness of heart, decision, mind quality, and hope. Okay. You'll also walk away with an exchange and sacrifice commitment, meaning you know exactly what you're willing to give in order to receive. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Timelines. You need to master timelines, and you will become a master of timelines. And that doesn't always mean time management, but what it does mean is that you recognize when something is due. I'll talk about scarcity in just a minute. Organized planning, okay? You will develop the skill of being able to plan. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy a planner, but I am saying you've got to be organized. The last couple of things here is you'll become a master at developing clarity and discipline. And I know that those are spelled wrong. I'm just kidding. Discipline is for sure the thing that you need most and that we will all work on together. And then the last thing is repetition and belief. All right, moving into this, I'm so excited to give you guys the first step. Now, let me share with you a few things. Desire is literally the first step to riches, but it is one of the most important processes because without a burning desire, there is no need to leave the boat. And what I mean is in a reference found in Think and Grow Rich, he talks about how an army used to burn the ships behind them when they arrived on the opponent's soil because they wanted to eliminate any possible opportunity for cowardly retreat. They had it in their minds, we are here to win the battle. And that is the kind of thing that you desire when you know what you want and when you're willing to give anything in exchange for that. When they burn their ships, they know there's no going back. So therefore, it's all in. Okay. So the first step, if you've got your paper and pen right in front of you, I've got my pink little pen here. Woohoo. And I've got my paper right in front of me. This is the beginning of your desire statement. And this is the first step in the direction of achieving that which you want most. The first step is to write and fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Now you're going to write the exact amount of money I desire is, and you will write that number down. Let me give you some context and some background. The exact amount of money you desire is something that you want, something that you need, okay? And I'm actually going to ask that if you would like to participate in a 90-day sprint challenge, that we will help you achieve that goal. I will give you some ideas, recommendations, resources, and counsel on how to achieve a financial number in 90 days. That's the Champion Circle way. We do everything in a sprint because that's how you get places faster, and you can always recover and rest from a sprint and get right back up and do another one. That's what I've learned. Now, many of you know my background. In 2012, I was competing and training to become an Olympic athlete and go to the Olympic trials. And in my last ever decathlon, where I was competing against the best of the best in the Mountain West Conference championships at Colorado State University, lining up to the starting line with some of the biggest, the baddest athletes in the West. This was an incredible feature and an incredible. And if there's one thing I know, I would run the 100 meter 10 times before you make me run a 1 mile dash, because the 1 mile is grueling, excruciating, and painful and long. And when you're done with the 1 mile, you don't get up for a few days. But if you run the 100 meter or the 50 meter or the 25 meter, whatever the distance, it is much more worth it. And you're able to give so much more. I appreciate the comments. Thank you guys. The more you're organized, the less stress you will be. Thank you, William. I love this. Okay. So again, you're going to write down the exact amount of money that you desire. Why money? Okay. Why is it about money? It's not about money, but money is a means to something that you're seeking. Now, let me share with you how many times I've done this. I have used this desire statement activity every single year since 2016. And every single time I do it, I achieve my goal. And every single time I do it, I achieve my goal and raise the bar. But I want to tell you about something last year when we were doing this as the Champion Circle community. I set a goal in 90 days to acquire $7,500. That was the exact amount of money owed on a debt that I was working to pay off. And it was just festering in my credit scores and so much more. And I just needed to get rid of it. It was done. It represented a bad business deal and so much more. And so I set in my mind this desire that I am going to live without this debt, and I can continue to live my life and prosper without it. $7,500 in 90 days. And I want to tell you how this went, because 30 days in, this is how much money was made towards the $7,500. Zippo, zero. However, each and every day I followed my desire statement. I reinstated in my mind and in my heart and in my belief that this was achievable. And not more than another week went by when the deal of a lifetime came across my desk, when I had the best relationship counsel and I had one of the greatest mastermind sessions in Champion Circle history for myself. And I walked away realizing I can do this in a day. $7,500 is not that big of a deal. And I erased any fear, any desire that I had to go around that. And I just picked up the phone and made it happen. And we didn't even finish the 90-day sprint before I hit my $7,500, paid off a debt, sent a check to the bank and said, get this out of my life, and send it to the middle of the darkest part of the earth, because I am through with it and my life is brighter without it. And that was something that I was so proud to achieve. That's one example. One more quick example is that every single time that I have done this activity, I set the bar at a minimum of $5,000, because honestly, if you're thinking about what is a good salary, what is a great wage, what is something that most people, especially in your part of the world, okay, I'm not talking like New York City and Seattle and some of the most expensive places to live, but let's say you live in a relatively normal place. The average amount of income you probably need to survive and thrive is about $5,000 a month. And that was my goal. And ever since I have started doing this activity, I have always hit my goal. So whether you are going to set your goal for $5,000, $7,500, $10,000, maybe it's even $500. It's okay. If it's $100 or $100,000, I want you to write the exact amount of money that you desire. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have written down the exact amount of money that you desire. No need to share what you have decided to commit to, but just let me know that you're there and throw me a chat saying, woohoo, let's go. Let's move on to the next section. All right, waiting on a few chats here. Awesome. I see a couple already flying in. Appreciate the participation. I got a question here. Thank you for the question. Does it matter if it feels unrealistic, but it's the first number? Great question. Thank you for that, Rachel. Yes, it's on your heart. And again, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to help you write if this is your first time doing it officially, I'm going to help you set the bar within 90 days. But if you're going to go off script, if you're just here for the training and you're going to go and do this within, a year or so, that's fine. I don't really care, but I do care about the outcome by which you choose, and you're definite in your decision. But please, if you feel like it's unrealistic, let me help you get rid of that, because that debt I paid off last year seemed unrealistic until 30 days in, my mindset switched. I was literally standing in front of a mirror, doing my statement, sharing my affirmations when it clicked, and I realized I could do it. So yes, it does matter. And please write down the unrealistic number. Now, if you think you can make $1 million in 90 days, I want to be your best friend. Okay? Because that means you're a go-getter. That means you know what it takes. But sometimes, let's say you're in real estate, or let's say you're in sales. Sometimes it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major big fish in a small pond that ultimately help you get to where you want to be. And that's perfectly fine. A great example of this is as well. Thank you for the thumbs up, Leanna and Ian as well. A great example is you can do this for not only yourself, but you can do this for your organization. I recommend you do it for yourself first, and you can do it as part of you in your organization. But I recommend you start with the person before the business, because ultimately you are your business. I hope that answers your question. Appreciate all the thumbs up. We are moving on. The second principle and step to acquiring and creating your desire statement is that you are going to determine exactly what you intend to give in return to achieve or to attain that money that you desire. Okay, and you will literally write this down. I intend to give blankety blank in exchange or in return for the money I desire. Let me give you some examples. First of all, I want to receive $7,500 last year. And I knew that all it took for me in order to get that $7,500 was to pick up the phone and call my contacts every single day, because that's what I wasn't doing before. I was willing to dedicate and sacrifice 2 hours a day to sales calls, prospecting calls, and no, they were not social media posts or blasts or email campaigns, not even text messages. The text messages became from prospecting and more. But what it came down to was literally picking up my cell phone. And this is one of the most powerful devices that anyone could ever have. Whether you have a smartphone or a not smartphone, you still have the power to communicate with anyone, anywhere, and as quick as you can dial and press send. Okay. So that was one of the things I needed to do. In exchange for the time I was using to sleep in, I dedicated 2 hours a day to prospecting through phone call. And that time may have been eaten up through text messaging and other forms of setting up stuff, but I created my systems in order to do that. So rather than sleeping in, I dedicated 2 hours of my mornings to creating those successful calls. Now, another great example of this is, let's say your goal is $5,000. You might want to give in exchange for $5,000, okay, something up. You might want to sacrifice something, okay? Maybe you're feeling gross. Can you give up sugar for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? And that knowing that that one thing will help you to actually think better, to feel better, to achieve better. That's something that's entirely up to you. But I know that you know yourself better than anyone else. You know your body. You know what your brain needs. You know what your soul needs, and you know what your stomach needs. And if that's the case, I think you know exactly what you're willing to give or give up in return for the money I desire. But it doesn't always have to be a sacrifice. It can be, and it will be, something that you are willing and able and capable of doing. Realistically, I like that we used that word earlier. Realistically, you should give something that you're not already doing. That's funny. My Alexa is telling me something. That's really nice. I would love it if you didn't interrupt me. Okay. So again, are you willing to give something up, or are you willing to just give more in exchange? It depends on where you're at. Let's just say that you're looking to earn $5,000 a month because that's the job you need to acquire. So goal number one is get the job, but that's the amount of money I desire. And that's what my standard is. That's what I'm working towards. So if it's job or career related, you may want to say to yourself, what am I not doing to get my career, but I know I should be doing? Should I be applying to jobs every single day for an hour? I had a classmate in college who cash flowed their entire college experience, not even with their own working money. They went to a scholarship acquisition website where there were hundreds and hundreds of scholarships available across the world. And they made it their full-time job, 7 hours a day, applying to scholarships that were applied towards their tuition, their food, their ability to travel, their ability to go do internships that no one else could do. This person had an internship at the Eiffel Tower, and they were able to sacrifice a sabbatical of one full school year to go spend some time in France because of the funding they received. Do what you need to do to get the job done, but know what you need to give in return, and you already know what that is. All right, give me some thumbs up or something really cool if you have written down what it is that you intend to give. And, or if you have any questions, let me know. I know this one's kind of hard, but again, give up, you can sacrifice, or you can do what you know you need to do but aren't currently doing. That's how I like to define the second step. All right, am I good to move on? Please send me some awesome thumbs up. Appreciate that. I have no idea where to start. Okay, thank you for saying that. If you will, let me know in the chat what it is you're trying to achieve. If it's a job, if it's just cash, if it's, let's go to the emotional side. Is it a dating partner? Is it a relationship? Just let me know in the chat what you think. You can private DM me in the chat. I can take a look at it as well. But Leanna, don't worry. If you're willing to just give more than you have given before, that's fine enough, as long as the vagueness is specific to how clear you want to achieve it, okay? And just know that your first desire statement can and will be revised over time. All right, in light of time, I'm gonna move ahead because I'd like to finish this up and get to some Q&A and allow you guys to converse and mastermind a little bit if possible. But Leanna, if you wanna send me a private chat, you just click on my name. I'll do it right here. Hi, okay? You can send me a private chat just to me, and I can understand where you're coming from, and I'll read it and I can give some answers. Also able to give it to you after hours as well. All right, I saw a few other people say thumbs up, good to go. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I'm moving on. This is where it gets fun. I really do, I do believe that. This is where it gets fun, because in the desire statement, you have to establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money that you desire. If you're going to follow the champion circle format and you'd like to achieve this financial number within 90 days, I highly recommend you set this date for yourself to be the following date. 90 days from now would be April 12th. April 12th. Okay, it'd be the second Thursday of April, which would actually be April 13th. So April 12th or April 13th would be 90 days or 3 months from now to acquire your financial number. Now, let's pretend you're not going to go along with us. You're just here for the training and you've got a different mind. And yeah, you're like, okay, can I set a small goal, but can I also set a big goal? That's fine, but don't lose sight of your desire. It has got to be such a burning desire that you're willing to burn the ships behind you and head into battle. That's how important this is, okay? I wanted that $7,500 debt gone so bad that I was willing to lose sleep. I was willing to pick up the phone. I was willing to do whatever it took to get that out of my life. And I hope that you'll find within yourself the desire to do so as well. Okay, once you have written down the exact time in which you want to possess the money by, we will move on. Let me know if I'm moving too fast. I'm going to move to the next slide. But you will write down on your card and your paper, wherever you're writing this down, I intend to possess this money by. And if you're following along at home, you will say April 13th. Awesome. Thank you, Ian. The fourth step in this process is to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. And I love the typos here, and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Now, let me give a little bit of context about this, okay? Again, you need to create a definite plan. What is that plan? it's different than what you're willing to give or give up. The definite plan is what you will do, what you commit to do. Let's just say we go into what I call reverse engineering, and follow with me. Don't lose me here. But reverse engineering is, I decided to make $5,000 in 90 days. Okay, that is my goal, $5,000 in 90 days. Or maybe if you're like, no, I got to earn $5,000 a month, then you're saying, I'm going to make $15,000 in 90 days. Whatever it is that you choose to do, that is fine. My plan of action to achieve that is, first of all, think about what you're not doing already that you know you need to do. Again, just like what you're willing to give or give up or give in exchange for what you desire, but this one's a little bit more detailed. In fact, not only was I willing to lose sleep, but I was willing to wake up 2 hours earlier in my day so that I could achieve my goal. I was sleeping in till 7:30. You guys are like, what? That's sleeping in? Yeah, I was sleeping in till 7:30. But you got to be getting up at the rise of dawn. Okay. Maybe your plan of action is you are going to, I don't know, maybe it's going to, let's start with each category, right? Money wise, it's pick up the phone and make more sales. Job wise, it's I need to dedicate how many days, how many times, at what time, and be specific, be organized. At 5 o'clock every day, I punch the clock at work and I leave. And on my commute home from work, I will make 3 phone calls to friends, family, or relatives, or anyone who I can reach who can help me achieve my goal. I'm going to tell as many what I'm up to, what I'm working towards, and if they can help me. I'm going to gain resources. I'm going to gain anything that I can to achieve what I want. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe another organized plan and a plan of action is to send more messages via social media, post more each day. I'm going to take more video content of myself. I'm going to record myself reading. I'm going to do what I need to do to acquire the skills necessary to be who I want to be, to achieve that what I'm seeking to do. But this is, again, what you think you know you need to do. Let me give you a story. When I was 8 years old, my family tradition is to go into the secret tunnel, I'm just kidding, into the wilderness of the Wyoming, I don't even want to say it on here. I'll say it, the Wind River Mountain Range, okay? I dare you to go up there. And every year for 75 plus years, the Kovach Rain has continued to hike up into these mountains and to sit upon a beautiful lake and fish where that family has probably fed thousands of mouths. And it is an incredible, incredible tradition. And I was started in this tradition at the age of 8. Now, I could not let my family down, myself down. I couldn't do anything, but I was completely unprepared for this. The 8-year-old packed his own backpack full of Cheetos and a Walkman device, if you guys remember what those things were, anything that would just weigh my pack down, unnecessary items for survival, because I was focused on one thing, which was getting to the lake, fishing, and continuing that tradition. Nothing could stop me. However, the trail was very, very difficult. I wasn't even 100 steps in before I felt blisters and I felt my heart rate raise and I was sweating, and it was really, really difficult. And I knew at this time that I had made a huge mistake and I was completely unprepared for this. As an 8-year-old, obviously, let's get some context. My dad wasn't going to let me die. He wasn't going to let me turn back either. But my goal was to achieve that which I set out to do. And so every grueling step of the 8-mile hike ahead of me, even 100 steps into this trail, I knew I could do it. And that was my burning desire. Get there. And it's ironic because I'm going to tell you the end of the story. I made it. And I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. But I've been doing this over and over and over again because one, of that burning desire. Two, I will never turn back. And three, it has become so innate to me and who I am that I can carry more than the average person. Now, that is something that I'm willing to do. Take a step every single day towards my journey. If I were to organize that into a plan, let me tell you how I got through the journey. Number one is I counted my steps. Every 10 steps got me closer to my journey. So I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And at the end of that, I'd give a little woohoo, and then I'd start over. And if I could do that over and over and over again, I'd organize my time, all 8 miles, into 10 incremental steps. That is how I became organized. That is how I have achieved it. And for 33 plus years of my life, I have always 100% reached my destination, especially when I go up to the mountains. So you too can organize your plans. Now, if it's talking about the financial number, I recognize it's a completely different scenario. But again, think specific. Think as organized and as specific as you can. If you do not think specific, you may find yourself at a crossroad throughout your process. And I have seen so many people do this statement, and then they hit a pivot, and then they take the fork on the wrong direction because they've lost the clarity of what they're trying to achieve. Don't pivot. You got this. Okay. Maybe your reasons, maybe your mission, maybe your purpose changes along the way, but don't change what you're doing. All right. Any questions in regards to the fourth step? We are almost done. All right, I'm going to move on. Please, if you have any questions, set it in the chat section. This is what yours is going to look like, okay? And obviously this is a little outdated, but I just want you to see what it would look like, okay? You should now have a clear, concise statement, and it's going to be your desire statement. And you're going to say the exact amount of money I desire is $5,000. I intend to give up my mornings of sleeping in by waking up X or at 5 in exchange to acquire $5,000. I will possess the $5,000 by, and right now I'm just going to say April 13th. My plan of action to acquire $5,000 by April 13th of this year is I am going to, and I repeat what I said earlier, is that I will pick up the phone. I will sacrifice my mornings by 2 hours, and I will have conversations during my commute. I know that those 3 things are the things that will help me achieve my goal. I mentioned reverse engineering earlier. Let me go back over that. I feel like I need to open that up. You know what it takes to get to where you want to go. If it's $5,000 and you reverse engineer that in your business, how do you make $5,000? How do you make $5,000? Do you punch a clock in at work? If so, what's your current wage? And why is there a deficit between the amount of the money you desire and what you actually earn? Maybe you need to make a few changes. I need to fix how much my taxes are being pulled out of my accounts. I need to fix how much I am spending. Okay. I need to make sure that I am working overtime, or that I am going to do Uber Eats or some sort of side job to achieve what I want to achieve. Okay. I need to do whatever it takes to earn more money in exchange for this desired outcome. Those are some plans and steps you can do. And then at the bottom of your statement, I love this, you're going to write it out. I will proceed today. This is a little Champion Circle ad. Oh, she says it's cut off. Okay, I'll read it. Thank you for saying that. Let me see here if I can see that. Boom. Just going to move the mouse. I will proceed today with the belief that by taking action, I am already in possession of my desires. I always have people write this down. I will proceed today with the belief that by taking action, I am already in possession of my desires. When I say this out loud to myself in front of the mirror every morning, every night, before bed, before work, whatever it is, I feel great. I feel inspired. I feel disciplined, and I feel like a different person. And it's the person I want to be. When I say this out loud, I raise my arms big and I say, I will proceed today with the belief that by taking action, I am already in possession of my desires. I know it seems weird. My wife has dealt with me doing crazy affirmations every single morning for her entire marriage, and it is okay. We are different. We are weird, but we are those who actually achieve what they want and desire. Okay, let me know if that's good. I can repeat it one more time. I will proceed today with the belief that by taking action, I am already in possession of my desires. And the last step, the sixth step, let me know if I'm going too fast, is you need to read your written statement aloud twice daily. Once in the evening before you retire to your bed, and once after arising in the morning. I put my desire statement on my mirror because I know that I can repeat this statement as often as I use the restroom. And I drink a lot of water. Water break. I drink a lot of water. So I go to the restroom, I know, TMI, a lot. And what that means is that you will be able to go to the restroom or go to the bathroom and see it. You don't have to put it there. Maybe you have a mirror in your closet or in your bedroom, wherever you go, and you will never forget where it is. Some of you are like, well, I go to the fridge. All right, you refrigerator openers, you will definitely say it every time you open the fridge. That's okay. All right. Maybe it's at the sink. Maybe it's on the bathroom wall. Maybe it's in your car, our statements while in a moving vehicle, right? But be careful and be safe, but be intentional and definite in what you desire. As you read and see and feel and believe, okay, you will already be in possession. You will already feel like you have what you are looking towards. And that's one of the keys to success. If you guys have ever read the book, The Secret, envisionment and aspiring to receive what it is that you are looking to achieve, that is what it's all about. Now, I want to just go over a few quick things. Here's my personal tips for success in all of this. And I will stand by your side. I'm committed to you. You're in this room. Dave, Leanna, Lauren, Ian, William, Rachel, all of you guys and more. I'm committed to your process. I know you can achieve this. I have a few tips that help me to do this every single time 100%. How? Well, first of all, I got these all from Think and Grow Rich. But two is I know that when I set myself up for success with these principles and foundations, not only do I achieve them, but I achieve them faster than the 90 days. Here's my personal tips for success. Do this daily for at least 30 days. Do not fall off the wagon. Really, just commit. And if you have to do it twice and you forget in the morning, do it at lunch. Do it twice before bed, but don't fall off the wagon. Go strong for 30 days and tell people about it. Jump into our Facebook group, go to our social media. Every day you'll see people saying, I did it today. I did not fall off the wagon. Okay? Because when you fall off the wagon, you have to chase. And sometimes chasing is okay if you can do it really, really quickly. Have the discipline and self-control, okay? When you follow your heart, your burning desire, you will just, nothing's going to stop you because you can't live the life you're living now because it has an absence of what you're desiring. So go and live with that desire. Have some discipline and self-control. And by the way, control is a beautiful thing. When you develop that strength of self-control, you will find so much more that will help you overcome any obstacle. All right, getting through this. Ask others to hold you accountable. I always, whenever I do my desire statement, I call up 3 people and I say, hey, I wanted to read this to you. And then once I read it to them, I say, hey, it's up to you. you've got to help me keep me accountable. Can you do that, please? I'm trusting you. Can you text me every day? Can I call you? Can I send you a Marco Polo? Can I do something so that you and I stay accountable? Be disciplined. As you read, I emphasize that you do this. Repeat and emphasize each section of your desire statement. Let me give you an example. This is how I emphasize and repeat my desire statement. It'll be a few times because you'll get this, all right? So here's my desire statement. The exact amount of money I desire is $5,000. I intend to give in exchange for the money I desire. I intend to possess the money by April 13th. My plan of action is A, B, and C, and I will be in possession of this money. Okay. I emphasize the beginning. Now listen carefully. The exact amount of money I desire is $5,000. I intend to give up my mornings and wake up 2 hours earlier in return for the money that I desire. I intend to possess this money by April 13th. I plan to give, and my plan of action is A, B, and C, and I will obtain, or I will be in possession of this money. Okay, I emphasize the second part. You guys get the picture, but I'm going to keep going. Okay, the exact amount of money I desire is $5,000. I intend to give up my mornings in order to achieve that and to in return for the money I desire. I intend to possess this by this date, April 13th. My plan is ABC, and I will be in possession of that money. Okay, the last part is the exact amount of money I desire is $5,000. I intend to give in exchange or in return for the money I desire. I intend to possess this money by April 13th. My plan of action is A, B, and C. I will be in possession of that money. What I'm doing here is I'm reaffirming everything I'm doing. But the more that I repeat it, I'm seeing with clarity every part of this desire statement. So I encourage you to repeat it at least 3 to 5 times, emphasizing different sections, because that is where the spark of energy came that night or that morning. I decided, wait a minute, I can get $5,000 or $7,500 instantly if I call these 3 people. So emphasize that. And then the last thing I want to share is don't freak out or lose your faith. Sometimes the money comes overnight or at the final hour, and sometimes not. It might come earlier. I'm really excited about this because, again, don't freak out. Have faith. I'm committed to your goals and your process. Now, if you set something like $1 million, again, I apparently need to be your friend, because the most I have ever made in this 90-day sprint is about $25,000, but I am on the upward climb. Imagine if every 90 days. Okay, that's about 100K a year, right? So not bad. That'd be great. And that's an exciting piece. Now, I'm not saying that's the only money I've ever made. I'm just saying when I've done this desire statement intentionally, focused on a particular goal. Now, every single year it goes up, and I encourage you to do so as well. This is the time where I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to open it up for anyone who would like to ask questions. Would anyone like to ask a question? I encourage you to reach down to your reactions, okay, and then press the raise your hand button. Again, if you scroll down to the reactions tab at the bottom of your screen, click on that and raise your hand. I will answer your question. Please raise a question, and this cues my team. Remember, we always ask questions, so please have a question ready. And if anyone else would like to share, please let me know as well. And if you have no questions or if you have no comments, it means I'm perfect. I did exactly what I was supposed to tonight, and there are no rebuttals. Now, it sounds like a few things were confusing on the presentation. I see some funny emojis coming up. I know I'm not perfect, but please just let me know. Again, reach down to your reactions, press your raise hand button if you would like to. Great, awesome. Thank you so much. Let's start with Leanna. Leanna, what is your question? You can either unmute and say it, or you can type it in the chat section.
I don't know where to start with. I know what I want. I know what my base desire is. but there's so many different ways I could go about it. And if I try to do everything that I know about, I'm just going to get overwhelmed and I'm going to throw up my hands and say, screw this, I'm going home. How is a good way to narrow down what to do?
Great question. Leanna, I also want to assure that you're not the only one thinking that, because I know there weren't just 3 ways for me to achieve the goal that I wanted. I knew that there were hundreds of ways for me to achieve my goal. What you've got to decide is what is the fastest path and the most important path to achieving this, because you don't want to achieve something and feel gross about it, right? A great example of this, or maybe an inappropriate example of this, is I know that there's a world out there of things that I could do that are illicit and illegal or bad or just not good, right? That I can do to achieve this money. And I know that that's accessible and I know that it's somewhere out there. I'm not going to go down that route. So already the darkness is eliminated. Now, the positive actions that I can take towards my goal, those are the aspects I want to take. I mentioned reverse engineering earlier. Whatever it is that you decided, let's just pretend it's $5,000. And say it's a job, or it's a new career, or it's a position that you need to obtain in order to get to that point. What I need to do is, and I'm just going to start shooting from the hip here, but I'm going to give you some ideas. Number 1 is I need to gain clarity on what my worth and value is. Okay. Number 2 is I probably need to up my resume and I need to get help from somebody who knows. Number 3 is I need to talk to people who already have the job or position or career that I want. And I need to make sure I call them, email them, message them, send them flowers, get them the donuts at the new donut shop down the street. I need to make sure that they know that I'm serious about learning where they're at. Okay. I need to use those resources. Now, let's say you don't know anyone or anybody or anything like what you're working on. I at least need to know what it is that I can do. And I hate saying this because, again, it sort of contradicts what we're talking about here, but the path of least resistance is not the path worth going down. But you can find those things that won't burn you out and you can achieve them. Just know, again, point number 1 is you may not get what you want because it might take longer than what you intend. But if you're willing to do it within the time frame, the money could come the night, the hour, the minute of your deadline, or it could come overnight tonight. Whatever it is, you need to decide. But reverse engineering is where you see yourself in possession of what it is you already want, and you work backwards. You decide, okay, I have it now. How did I get there? Oh, I needed to apply to 5 jobs a day. I needed to use LinkedIn, learn how to use LinkedIn and get on LinkedIn and find people who have my job. Or I need to just go to the company or the place that does what I want to do, and I need to go and bug the heck out of them until I have a straight shot answer of what I need to do, or even how little I need to do to get in. A great example of this, real quick, is the famous story of Les Brown when he first got his job at the DJ. Okay, he would knock on the door and say, "Hey, Mr. Butterball, my name's Les Brown, and I'm here to be the DJ's assistant." And he said, "Go away, son. We're not hiring." And he did this for 5 days straight. And on the 6th day, the guy was like, "Go get me a coffee." And even though he wasn't happy about him being there, he hired him in that instant. And Les Brown finally got his position at working under the DJs at the radio store or the radio office. So essentially, you've got to figure out what you need to do. We can flesh out a bunch of ideas and eliminate those for you. And let's do that at the next Champion Circle meeting. But I want to encourage you to start brainstorming what it is that you can do, what you won't do, and what you're willing to do. Those 3 things will help you. What you can do, what you won't do, and what you're willing to do. All 3 different categories. Let me know if that helps. I'm going to lower your hand, raise it back again if you have more questions. Let's jump on over to Lauren. Lauren, what is your question? And thank you for asking a question. Leanna, thank you for your question.
All right, so mine, despite what you're saying, mine is not a financial goal.
Okay.
And so what is the best way to, like, how to put it? What is the best way to write out your intentions with it when it's not a financial goal? Like, is it calendaring your day, or is it, like little things like that? Like I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to give up 30 minutes of my day. But it's like, do I need to go in day by day and say exactly what time that's going to be at? Because it's going to have to change every day.
Right. Great question. If it's not a financial number, but let's say it's a status, let's say it's a health-based goal, right? I need to lose 50 pounds or 20 pounds or 10 pounds in 90 days, right? Again, it actually doesn't change. You need to know exactly what you do to be in possession of that goal. Therefore, if it is, I know if I get up every single morning at 6 a.m. and I walk for 2 miles, and then I start my day by drinking a giant glass of water, and then I also don't eat hearty breakfasts, but I just focus on the necessities for the day. I'm totally shooting from the hip here. I know like health experts like Rachel are probably like, stop giving advice. Okay. But whatever it is, okay, you know what you need to do. But let's say in the example of Leanna, if you don't know what you need to do, but you have an idea, write those down, but get clarification. Go talk to whoever has already done what you're working to do and ask them. If they're not accessible, if they're not available, let's say it's, I want to get on the show Biggest Loser or Big Brother or whatever, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, right? For me, it's like, I want to be on Survivor, right? I'm going to literally message every Survivor contestant until I get where I want to go. What did you put on your application? How did you submit it? Was there a timing that did it? Is there a way to do your video in interviews? Is there something I can do to improve my situation? And if I obsess about that, meaning I know that there's no cowardly option for retreat, then I can achieve it. But here's the part that I want you guys to be aware of and to make sure you master. Even if you feel like you're still stuck, you don't know, here's the problem that everyone faces when it comes to creating goals. Now, there are certain ways to do things, but not everyone's way to making $1 million is the same way. In fact, I could tell you that the person who made $1 million in Connecticut did not make the same amount of dollars as the person in California who did it completely different. There's not one way to eat an elephant. There's not one way to achieve that which you want to achieve, but there is one way that's your way. And part of this is creating your own belief in your statement. By repeating it every day, you internalize and create the process that you've committed to. So if I say, I want to be able to run a marathon, okay, highly capable of it. Okay, there are millions of people every year who run marathons. I should probably call and say, hey, how do you start training for a marathon? I want to run one in 90 days. They're going to be like, you're crazy. They're going to be like, you're going to do a lot of walking. But it's like, okay, but I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to do 26.2 miles in one day. And what that's going to take me to do is that I need to develop my own belief system and how do I achieve that? By doing so and repeating my steps, I say every day I get up at the crack of dawn, I walk 2 miles, I run 1 mile, and then I walk another 2 miles and I run 1 mile. And then you start to organize how that changes, where more advanced you get to be able to sustain that every single day. Whatever it is, you need to be able to believe that it is yours. And you say, I'm already at war, I'm here to win, I can't go home. So you've got to create your own belief that whatever you choose to do will work. And that's hard because a lot of times, and I'm noticing this, People want to be told what to do. Stop that. We need to break that cycle. You cannot be told what you need to do. You need to believe in what you need to do and use that to your advantage. Because once you know what you can do, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, that is where you will find the success you need to achieve that goal. But I highly recommend you seek advice. Okay. Google is a great resource to an extent. Okay. Let's say you're seeing a doctor about a health problem or a health challenge. Okay. Your doctors are probably going to say, hey, get off WebMD. You're going to scare yourself, or get off Google. You're just going to learn things that are going to scare the heck out of you. Go to viable, reliable sources. And I hope that answers your question. I'm going to lower your hand, Lauren, but if you have another question, please raise it. Does anyone else have any other questions? Thank you for the comments. Well said, John. You need to believe it is yours. Absolutely. Answering any other questions at this time. I hope I answered it. Now, what are the resources available to you? We'll send to you, you signed up for this, we'll send you a desire statement card that you can print out and you can write. But you've already written your statement down. Okay, it's already on paper. You know exactly what it is that you want, what you're working towards, when you're going to get it. Now let us help you. If you have yours written down and you submit it to me in an email, I will follow up with you. Now that brings me to Champion Circle, but let me jump on over to Willie, who has a question. Willie, what is your question?
Yeah, my question is, I have the goal that I want for, I have the money goal, and as I'm thinking about how to do it, it's a big goal, and I haven't made that much in 90 days. And so because I haven't done it, I don't know in my life what exactly I can do to get to it. So my question would be, if you're in that situation to where you have that goal, but have never done it before, what can you do to gain the confidence and the surety that as you go forward with planning and such, that you'll be able to reach it?
Beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. And it sounds from the questions I'm getting is there is not a lack, but it sounds as if there is a little hesitancy in many of our participants to commit to the big goal. Now, I appreciate what Rachel said at the beginning of the call, like, what if it seems unrealistic? You've never done it before. Again, is it a burning desire if you know you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there? Did you guys know that Napoleon Hill never earned a dime from Dale Carnegie, but yet he showed up for an interview, was hired to be his, we'll call it his writer and his intern, and worked for 13 years straight without pay, but yet was given the opportunity to interview 150 or more of the most successful and renowned business owners in the world, all to come to accumulate the knowledge and learn what it took to think and grow rich. That was the creation of the book. And for 13 years, he had to connect and write and research and learn from all these people. And I think that that's just something you have to realize, is that if it's never been done before in your life or in anyone else's life, what do you believe you're capable of doing? Now, I know that there's dark demons, and I know that they set themselves upon your shoulders and weigh you down. I know that they can get in the way. I know that there are things, but listen to the process. There's a reason why it's so simple. So many people have gotten this far and said, no way, it's too simple. I can't do that. There's no way that that leads to $1 million. But whatever it is that you need to do, you need to commit to it. And it is a burning desire if you cannot live without it. And whether it takes you 90 days or 1,000 days or 30 days, it doesn't matter. It is a burning desire. And I believe in you. And I believe that you can do it. Like I said, it took me one day 1 day, because the clarity clicked, the idea burst, and I figured out that I was doing what I needed to do. But if I just made 2 phone calls to the right person, which came at a different time, that I could do it in 1 day. So again, if you're doing the steps, right, it can happen overnight. It can happen over consecutive nights, and you can continue to achieve this. Now, I would also recommend really quick, find people who have already done it or people who are currently doing it. And if you still don't feel like you have access to those types of people, maybe you know someone who does. There are times you've been at the Thanksgiving dinner table when someone talks about the millionaire next door, and you can go back to that person and say, hey, do you still have the millionaire next door? Do you still have someone who you know who's achieved that? Can I somehow go and scrub their toilets, their lawn, to do whatever I can to understand how they did it? So it's a burning desire if you cannot live without it. And that's my recommendation. I hope that answers your question and gives you a little bit of insight. Again, I'm committed to you. Again, I understand that it's scary, but I also understand that this is a process that if you take seriously, if you follow, if you are disciplined, if you do not fall off the wagon and commit to for 30 days, you'll surprise yourself at how quick, how fast, how strong you become in the process and how you achieve it. I know there are extracurricular outside resources and so many other distractions that can cause us to fall off the wagon, to slow our progress down. And I know that there are people, especially that are close to us, family, relatives, people that live in the same household under the same roof, who might laugh, scoff, even make fun of you for the goals you have. But again, I've told you before, I've been doing this for almost 10 years in my marriage, getting up, saying affirmations, and making sure that I repeat back what I believe into the mirror. Now, there have been days where I don't believe my own self. That's why I developed the process of emphasizing different parts of your goal. If you emphasize the first part, the second part, the third part, the fourth part, you start to find that you believe and have so much more clarity in that which you achieve. I'm not a good person at memorizing. I would never be a great clinician. I would never be able to memorize and learn all the pieces of the body and body parts and so forth. I would be a horrible doctor. But what I do know is that I can convince my brain, and I can convince it against Mother Nature's will what it is that is my reality, by repeating, and getting clear on exactly what I want. I love the questions. If there are any other questions, please ask them now. You can raise your hand or you can put them in the chat. Please give me some feedback. Did you feel like this was helpful? Do you feel like this was enlightening? Do you feel like you were able to get some new knowledge that maybe you didn't have before? Give me some feedback in the chat, or if you want to throw in some emojis, I'd love that. But just let me know what you need in order to accomplish this. If you have more questions, but you're fearful to ask in front of a group, obviously you can send me an email. My email is right here in the chat if you want to have access to that. Now, it is late. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you for investing in yourself and taking the time to overcome any challenges. Okay. At Champion Circle, we help you with weekly accountability and mentorship. Go to your next chapter meeting, whether it's in Lehigh, Ogden, or anywhere else in the world. You can also attend online, and we can give you the mentorship and coaching and accountability that you need. You'll be receiving an email or a text message from your accountability partner shortly. And you can also come to our events and get the community support that you need. And all I want to say is thank you. And if you have time, go ahead and follow us, mychampionscircle.com, or you can go to My Champion Circle on any social media channel where you'll find a lot of resources and opportunities to connect and be supported. But this is a community that cares for you. This is a community that wants you to achieve, and a community that cares so much about your success. Again, I'm committed to you. Take advantage of this opportunity. And let's just say you're half wrong. Okay. Let's say that your financial goal is outrageous, but you're only half wrong. And you, in 90 days, get halfway there. That's halfway more than you have received before. Okay. You can find and fine tune what you've achieved and get better and better and better at it. Willie says, I felt my biggest hurdle was the belief part. I know my goal, but the unknown scares me. Now that I know it's the unknown, I can find solutions to beat it. Let me talk about that and we'll wrap up. There was a man who was before a doorway and a dark figure walked up to him and said, before you open that door, know that you will risk it all. But now is your chance. You can go through the door or you can turn around and never know what was through it. The first person to walk up on that door turned around and said, no way, Jose. The unknown is too scary. I'll live in contentment. And they walked away. And they never knew what was beyond the door of unknown. The second person walked up to the figure and the door, and the figure said, beyond this door is unknown, but you have the freedom and ability and the will to walk through it at this time. If you choose to do so, go now. And that person thought for a minute and said, can I live without knowing what I don't know? And that thought, that provoked thought of, what do I not know? And am I willing to go and learn what it is? Will I risk it all? Will I leave everything I already know behind in order to achieve that which I don't know? And the person opened up the door to a room that was full of light. And within an instant of being encompassed in the light, the dark figure was gone. The world that they knew was already behind them, and that door was already closed. They had broken through what you call a glass ceiling, a capacity, a chamber that has been keeping you captive for so many years. And beyond that point, when you finally open that door, you know the combination, the key, the ability to get through that door was as simple as opening and walking through it. And once you did that, the world was changed completely. There was no more darkness. There were no more questions. It was all in front of you. And before you laid a path, a journey, a new world of opportunity. And that's what happens when you take the darkness and say, yes, I'll walk in, I'll step in, I'll jump in. Leap with faith, not a leap of faith. We're not guessing anywhere. We know that what's on the other side is greener. One last thing I want to share with you guys. Obviously, you know my background in athletics. I used a methodology that you experienced today to help train through an affirmation and an envision activity. That's it's the envisionment activity for athletes, okay? And it'll be available on the podcast here shortly, as I'm already doing some really cool cuts for it. But essentially, I had an athlete who was a complete head case, right? Who was never, ever going to win state because they couldn't even get themselves to finish the race without puking and passing out because they were so scared. But one day when they finally conquered that fear and stepped into the darkness of, what if I push my body to the limit? What if I don't care what happens when I don't finish, or when I black out, or when I puke? And they pushed themselves just far enough to realize, wait a minute, I've been holding myself back from my personal potential. That person last year went on to win the state championships and also become a nationally ranked track and field athlete. I'm so proud of this, not because it's my method, but because it's anyone's method. The one thing that's keeping you from your success is the one thing that you're allowing yourself to be consumed by. And I believe that this beautiful book has many, if not all, the answers to the small but yet important processes in your life. You too can think and grow rich. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. And if you have any questions, please send any of them to my email. And I'd like to invite you back next month to our next training, where you will be able to dive even deeper into your desire statement. You'll be able to connect with each one of us and to report back, but also to see how much more you can do. I commit you, challenge you, and invite you to do this for 30 days. And if you can't do it in 30 days, then I promise you, you're missing out on the gold that is you are 3 feet from. That's another Napoleon Hill reference, but you're literally 3 feet from gold. And all it takes is just a few important steps. And if you do these daily, I promise you, you'll find so much more than that which you sought out to in the original start. With that being said, guys, I'm going to end the recording. Appreciate you all. Have a great night, and we will talk to you soon. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.